Hey everybody, Tracy Brown here. And I have something I just need to blurt out, so we're going to do it. Let's go for it. If you don't know me, I'm Tracy Brown. I'm a somatic nutrition therapist and coach, and I do a lot of embodiment work as well with food and body image and all that. So I was doing this exercise with my professionals. I do a professional training, and we were talking about this yesterday. It was leading up to like a decoding tool that we won't go into today. But if basically, hey everybody for joining live, appreciate it. So I'm just going to come out with it. This fear of gaining weight or fear of fat in general is killing us. It is robbing us of our energy, our vitality, our brain space. And everybody in recovery knows this, or who has been, who's in doing, working on intuitive eating, and they're fearful of weight gain. And I know people are. So this is not shaming anybody or diminishing it. I was in the trenches of it back in the day, 20-something years ago, feeling like this will be the worst thing ever if I gain weight. And, this fear of gaining weight or this fat bias and this internalized stuff that we have, no matter what size we are, it hurts and harms and kills everybody. And when I say kill, I know that sounds really dramatic, but some people, people die from disordered eating. People die from not getting adequate care because, of weight bias. People die from getting gastric bypass. It happens all the time. And so if it's not literally killing you, it's robbing and stealing your life. Of your brain space, of being present with people. I can't tell you how many events I missed because of fear of weight gain, or friendships, or I have tons of coulda, woulda, shoulda in my past. And I'm just here to put it out there to you guys that, having body fat on you or being a larger person or even gaining 5 pounds isn't the worst thing in the world that will ever happen to you. So I want to do an exercise. Why this feels so entrenched and something to do about it, okay? So this word, I know it's backwards. I don't even know if oh my gosh. Fat, okay. I know it's backwards. Sorry, guys. You get the point. Fat equals. In our culture, we've been taught that fat equals what? I'm going to have to read this because I know it's backwards. Okay, so fat equals unhealthy, lazy, stupid, not attractive, not lovable. These are things that my clients tell me every day that they're afraid of, every single day. And so when I hear these things, I write them out for them just like this. And I'll say, okay, where we get this from? And they'll tell me, like, well, that's just the way it is. Like, well, no, you were a baby once. You were a toddler once. You were 5. You had to learn this stuff from somewhere. It's just not inherent that we believe that and we think that way. So they'll tell me, from our culture, from the doctor's office, and again, this isn't a bashing everybody you've ever known party. This is just, we want to tell truth. Like, where did you hear this? And people, and for me, I learned it initially when I was little and watching my some of my relatives diet and hate their bodies because they've gained weight for all kinds of reasons. And then when I got into high school, just people around me. And honestly, I was super, super influenced by teen magazines. So moms out there, be really careful about what your girls and boys are watching and looking at, because it could seem pretty innocuous, but if there's any kind of even undertone of like good, bad eating or things like that, that's where I learned stuff from. This is where I got my ideas to food restrict in the way that I did it. So just it's out there. Okay, in our culture, we got thinness, right? Whether you have a thin body or not, we believe that thin equals healthy, attractive, successful, disciplined, loved. Those are all the stereotypes from both of these, and I can make a longer list, but I just, did a couple that people tell me and that I used to believe. I had to unlearn all my fat prejudice too when I was in my early 20s. So I'm really grateful that I've had, almost 20-something years free from that. And not that, like, people don't ever have biases about anything. Yeah, it's so ingrained in our society, it's unavoidable. We're going to bump into it every day. But our individual responsibility truly is to, like, when we see this stuff, fat equals, and we believe here in our own heads, or we see it from the people, thin equals, we have to just stop and say, who says? Who says? Who says that every person I walk around the street and I see inherently has these qualities if they're in a larger body, that they're lazy or that they're not attractive or they're not smart. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that we have those thoughts. Not your fault, but we have to unlearn it. That's our job, is to challenge ourselves. And so when you see thin people and you automatically think, oh, they must be really fit. Fit's a big one here, that we think that. That's a simple fix, guys. If you think that fitness equals thinness, go watch the Olympics every year. Go watch the Olympics. And you'll see that people of all shapes and sizes at the peak of being able to do things physically are there doing awesome things. And so fitness isn't a look. I just want you to start looking at that. And that's why at this point in our world, even though we still have all this ingrained, we have social media and we have this information that says, like, no, look around, and fill up your social media with people who are all shapes and sizes, living their life, or at least fighting this in their own mind and sharing that, let alone, pushing back against other things. And I want to recognize with you that I don't blame anybody, any one particular thing. I don't think we fight against individuals. We do not. We don't. It's these bigger structures that are the issue that we have to just be aware of and start to unlearn and seek the truth in ourselves and each person we see. So I encourage you, I even challenge you to look around at people who are in a size that you might judge and, just be around them and notice their qualities that have nothing to do with their body size. Again, and this might be, if you have people in your life that you know good and well, that like, if you know their habits, but their habits you feel like don't match, what the culture says, and there you go, there's a match. Or if you're looking around your world, like there's people, quote unquote, being successful, whatever that means, in all shapes and sizes doing stuff. And, just because we have these stereotypes somewhat in our minds that we're trying to unlearn, my point is that we can unlearn this stuff. But it takes work. It takes like daily diligence to challenge ourselves. Well, who says if I don't lose weight that I have to be unhealthy or be more comfortable? And I always, when I say always, I mean I probably missed it a couple times, but I'm very sensitive to the issue around different privileges, and I know I've got lots. So I do know that like being in a certain body size sometimes comes with different discomforts that we have to navigate, because the research is really clear. 95% of the time when we try to purposely restrict our bodies, we may or may not be able to make them smaller. But 100% of the time we're going to have consequences in terms of like obsession and how it's going to impact our lives. And there's very little guarantee it's going to stay at that place with the behaviors that we put into place in the first place. So there's not a good solution. And the only solution that I see is that we start to accept that these stereotypes are absolutely wrong. And you might even do a little fun game with yourself to try to prove that's wrong. Like go out and find some thin people that that don't have the best habits. And it's not to make them feel bad, but just observe, like, wait a minute. Like, this person does X, Y, Z, and those aren't supposed to be health-enhancing habits. So clearly, just because that person's thinner doesn't necessarily protect them maybe from certain things, for example. And again, I think this exercise is just really important to see where these characters just lie in yourself and why it hurts so bad. And our job is to like, wait a minute, what can I do that's supportive to myself regardless of what is going on with my body size, regardless even of what other people might think of it? Because people, when we talk about projection, we often think that people think that what they think the same as we do. Is there a grain of truth in it sometimes? Yeah. You might bump into somebody who is fat prejudiced too, and possibly has thoughts about things. But you know what? Then that's their projection. They don't know anything about you and what you're trying to do to be supportive to your overall well-being. That's what we have to stay focused on and have good boundaries and just have radical self-care. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful. Obviously, I'm super passionate about this because I was just sitting drinking my coffee. I'm like, oh, I haven't talked about this in really a long time, and I need to. And one day, maybe I'll figure out how to make notes that aren't backwards, which I thought would happen, but I tried anyway. Just to illustrate, hey, what's going on here? Make out your list and debunk that. You can easily do that. You can go out there in the world and debunk that. And when you say like, well, I don't judge other people's larger bodies, but just my own, or other people's weight gain, but just my own, then there is a reason that you're holding on to that for protection. And we need to look at that, because that's cultural stuff holding in place your pain, and that can be healed. We can let that go. All right, you guys, so take care. I hope to talk to you soon. If you have any other topics you want to talk about, please let me know. I'm going to put a link down below to some other links that I have about this topic, and hopefully all of it helps you. If some of it does, if this video helps, please share it with somebody that would benefit. So thank you so much, and take care.